Hello, everybody. My name is Lisa Lamont, and I am hostess of Ladies Get Your Prance On. And each week, I bring in an incredible superstar, like I have today, Lynda Sunshine West, and she's in the house, and she is going to be talking about time management today, because one of the things that we have that slip by is time management, and that is one of my big weaknesses. But I would like to have Lynda start off to talk about a book that she wrote. And so, Lynda, just come on in and take over.
Okay, and it's funny he's in the house. I'm actually, right now, my husband and I, we bought an RV and we're, traveling to different parts of San Diego County because we're from San Diego. And so in the house literally is like, this is my backyard. It's like a preserve. We live on an Indian reservation. So it's really cool.
Wow.
So, the book I wrote is called The Year of Fears. And it was because in 2015, for some reason, I decided that I was going to face a fear every single day because I realized I had so many fears. And I just went through that entire year. First thing I would say to myself in the morning is I would wake up and I'd say, what scares me? And whatever popped into my head first was the thing I had to do that day. Now, what I share with people is like, I didn't jump out of any planes or do any bungee jumping or anything like that. All of my fears were really like they were based, here and here, like in my head. And mostly the biggest fear I had was the fear of judgment. Yeah. And, how many of us have fear of judgment? Fear of judgment is actually the number one reason why many of us don't do what we want to do. We let that fear of what other people are going to think of us when we do it. And what's funny about that, Lisa, is when I was younger and even as an adult, people always called me crazy and weird. And I thought that was a bad thing. Yeah. And so I started clamming up and I didn't want to say things because people would see how crazy or weird I was. My first husband used to tell me I was stupid and ignorant. So I didn't want people to see how stupid and ignorant and crazy and weird I was, So I had all these judgment issues that I had. And I realized I needed to address my fears so that I could become a better person. And so I embarked on that journey. It was absolutely amazing.
So do you know now, looking back, because we're like twin flame sisters of being, different. But do you now look back and realize that your first husband that you attracted were based on how you felt about yourself? And so the fact that he endorsed those thoughts you felt about yourself, because I look back on mine and I can see that same pattern. So you're in a much better place today.
Yes, exactly. And that's so true that, we do attract to us, like attracts like. I mean, it's not just a saying, it's an actual reality. And, I grew up in an abusive, alcoholic, raging alcoholic household. And my dad was always like, you kids need to be quiet. Kids are better seen than heard. And, I heard it all those sayings that parents say that make you feel less than, And so unfortunately, I grew up in that environment and that's who I was because that's what I knew. And then I ended up marrying somebody just like my dad, which is a common thing, right? But fortunately for me, 2 years into our marriage, I realized how absolutely miserable I was. And I remember one day I was like, I would rather be alone and lonely than miserable with somebody who's making me miserable. And I remember saying that. And that was about the time that I decided to pick up my 14-month-old and my 4-week-old. I put them on my hips and I walked out of the house and said, I'm not living this life. And I decided to, change my life at that time. But I still didn't have have people to help me to know how to change my life. Yeah. So it's interesting. It wasn't until I was 51 that I actually found a life coach who helped me to learn who I am. It took all those 51 years, for me to find somebody that could help me, discover who I am so I could live my life as who I really am, not who that ex-husband thought I was.
Yeah. And that's kind of the point. It's never too late. I'm 60 now and I'm still, I'm finally, for the last 2 years, I'm in my groove. Like I feel I'm on track and I'm on purpose. And I want the people that are watching this who maybe feel like they're in a funk right now, that feel that, life has passed me by or I'm too old or it's too late. It's never too late. It's never.
Exactly. And that's what I love is because at age, I was 51 before I started on a journey of self-discovery is, was that too old? Heck no, because now that I'm where I am now, so it's like 4 years into my journey, I'm 55, 4 years into my journey, I'm living the life that I'm here to live. Like you mentioned, on purpose. I'm living my life on purpose. It's the purpose that I was given when I was born. I was born with this purpose. But in order for me to live this purpose, of my purpose that I have, I had to go through that 51 years of muck in order for me to now be able to give back, because I can help people with the things that I've gone through. And so it's like a blessing to have had that childhood trauma, a blessing to have had that first husband who, made me think bad of myself, because now I can say there is hope. You may be feeling down in the dumps. You may be feeling like you aren't worthy, that you don't have any worth, you don't have any value. But the truth of the matter is that you do have it. You just don't have the right people in your life right now who can help you to see the value that you have, to see the truth of who you really are. So it's reaching out and finding those people. Someone will come across your path at the time that you're ready.
Yeah,
And that will be the person who will share that with you and help you discover it.
well, and look at where you are today. I mean, you and I, we met at Secret Knock. That's a huge, huge event for people who may not have heard of Secret Knocks. A few people that don't, you have to be invited. And so a lot of people don't know about it, but you've been heavily involved in that. You've helped a lot with it. You're on stage now. I mean, even your book that you just wrote, you got endorsed by one of my favorite all-time motivational speakers, Les Brown. And so I want people to know that, look at where you are today.
Yeah, and it's interesting. I have a friend, you know how it's called Gold Coast. Gold Coast makes all these videos showing like Oprah Winfrey, how she started off with nothing and how she's who she is now. It shows all these different people of their stories like that. And I was looking at one today and I was like, you know what? I think I'm about ready to make one of those. I mean, I'm not as far as Oprah is, but we don't have to be there before we start sharing the value that we have, before we start sharing what we've gone through. We don't have to ever be there. But you know what? I'm just a girl who's living in an RV, in Alpine, California, on an Indian reservation. But I know that even that I'm living that life, that I can inspire somebody to let them see that, yes, I've gone through hard times too, and I get you. And you know what, though? There is a chance or possibility for you to live a different life, to totally 100% change your life. Lisa, 4 years ago is when I made this decision to change my life. And it's been 4 years. And during that 4 years, there's nothing that I'm doing today that I was doing 4 years ago. Not a single thing. So I have totally upended my life to live a different life. But you know what? I am happier than I've ever been in my entire life.
This is amazing. See it. You can just, you're glowing. What, a lot of people are feeling this draw to get RVs or fifth wheels and travel and live that kind of life. I mean, people are downsizing, they're getting tiny houses. What attracted you to live this lifestyle?
Well, my husband and I have been talking about it for like 20 years, but we just never did it. And I think it was just, we had too much stuff. Every time we'd move, we'd get rid of more stuff, but then we accumulated more stuff. And so finally I just said, you know what, let's just do it. We've been talking about it. Let's buy, we bought an RV. I think it cost us like $10,000. It wasn't that hugely expensive, but we bought this RV and we're doing it. And it's fun because where we're living, like I've never lived in nature like this before. I'm a city girl. I come from San Diego. I'm used to being concrete jungle. And so it's really nice to be living in a place where in the morning I might see deer back there. Like there were some deer just yesterday, And so like living in nature. And my husband, he was a park ranger for the federal government, ranging different parks. Yeah. And he really missed that outside life, So it's like, it was the right time for us. And so we did it.
Well, and this is so cool. So here you are in nature on the Indian reservation, living life, but yet, next week you're probably going to be on stage, interviewing a superstar, because that's what you're doing. And that's exactly why I wanted to have you on the show. Also to share a little bit about time management. A lot of people like myself, as an entrepreneur, all of a sudden we just find ourselves, you know, opening up Facebook, checking out the posts, seeing things, and then all of a sudden it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So
Yes.
I would love for you to just share some tips about time management, if you would.
Sure. I love this subject because part of my journey has been trying to discover who, you know, in trying to discover who I am and like what my purpose is here. I've had so many different things that have come across my desk, you know, that I've tried to do, like, you know, putting on events. I love putting on events. They're so much fun. But what I discovered is I met with this woman. Her name is Penny Zanker, and I met her at an event called CEO Space. And Penny is a time management expert. Like, that's her thing, right? So she gave us this assignment, and the assignment was to, and this was like right in front of her, like we had a half hour to do this assignment. So the assignment was to write down all the things that we do on a daily basis. And so you just wrote them all down, and then you had to like kind of block them and say, I spent, you know, 10 minutes doing this one, 30 minutes doing this one. And then what I realized is by the time I got to the end of my list, first of all, I forgot to put down, you know, bathroom times, you know, bathroom breaks, taking a shower. Like, I forgot to put all that stuff in there. So when I finally filled in all the holes, like cooking, driving, you know, those are all time. And so I discovered that according to my list, I had 36 hours every day, you know, because the reality was that I thought I was doing all of this stuff, but I wasn't. And so she helped me to like learn how to block my time out. So I created a document. I took the information she taught me, then I coupled that with the stuff that I learned along my journey of, you know, learning how to keep track of my time. And I put it into a document, and it's a time blocking document. If you guys want to download it, go to, in this free download, go to livinglive.tv/time blocking. And it's an awesome way for you to like really get track of what you're really doing, and then to get rid of the stuff that is not serving you. That was the biggest thing for me. I was spending, like you said, I was spending 7 or 8 hours a day on Facebook. And I really could honestly, at that time, I was like, but I'm working. I'm working.
I'm networking. I'm supporting my fellow entrepreneurs by liking their stuff and following them. As an entrepreneur for going on 9 years, I totally get that. And just my time management, I was also going to networking events all the time. Like, I go to like 3 or 4 a month. Like, I'm in there, you know, there's Lisa with her selfies with everybody. And finally I realized that's not the best use of my time management. And so, you know, that's, you know, we should have those we support. I still belong to certain groups that I go to and participate, but now I'm more selective because time is precious.
Yeah, time is the only commodity we'll never, ever, ever be able to get back. So it's funny because I never even really had thought about the term spending time. How are you spending your time? You actually are spending it. If you think about money, we spend money, but we also spend our time. So if you're spending your time doing things that you're not enjoying, if you're spending your time doing things that are aggravating, frustrating, you got to really look at that and say, is this the best use of my time? So let's say, for example, entrepreneurs. What I discovered by doing this time blocking document is that I was spending so many hours doing things that somebody else could do. I could pay somebody else to do that. Now, a lot of people will say, but I can't find anybody who can do it as good as me. You know, that's like a very common saying for entrepreneurs, right? Because we're like perfectionists. And so, but if you could find somebody that could do it 70% as good as you, is that going to be good enough? And if it's not, then I caution you to check yourself to see why, because there is something about you that you're not allowing others to shine in their light. And so you're spending time doing things you shouldn't be doing because your brilliance is somewhere else. Maybe that's not the thing that's really the thing you should be doing. Maybe you're good at it, but it's not something you're enjoying your time doing. So find a virtual assistant, find a graphic designer, find a video editor, find somebody, a content writer, you know, find somebody that can do that stuff for you that you're either putting off or that you're not really enjoying doing. You know, you only get so many hours in a day, and your life, when you get to the end of it, do you want to have regrets that you didn't spend more time doing the things you absolutely love?
This is so true. And, you know, it's true about our personality types. You know, some people like to are, you know, naturally really good with working with graphics, but yet they don't like to write the content. You know, I'm not
Right.
a content person. I like graphics with quotes. You know, I do Les Brown quotes and Brene Brown quotes because that's my strength, you know, of
Hmm.
simple. But if I'm going to write a blog, I'm going to hire somebody to, you know, give them my idea and my spin so that, you know, it sounds good, or I just won't write it. And I love that you point out it's important to hire people that they're the expert in it, because it's
Hmm.
still your work, but it's done with the professionals.
Right. And the other thing too is that a lot of people are like, well, I can't afford, you know, I hear this so often is I can't afford to hire somebody. But really, if you think about it, you can't afford not to hire somebody. Because let's say, for example, the task is, I'll just use a task like bookkeeping, for example. A lot of entrepreneurs don't really like doing bookkeeping because most entrepreneurs that I've met, at least, are visionaries and we see the big picture. We really don't want to get messed around with all the details and stuff like that. So if you think about it, if tax season comes around and you're like, I got to do my books, and this used to be me every year about April 10th. Okay, I got to do my books, and I break everything out, find everything, and then I would do my own stuff. Like, yes, I can do it. But first of all, the energy I was spending in it was negative energy. That's the first thing. Then I was spending energy in it, something that I don't excel at. I can do it well, but it's not my thing. So I spent a lot of my time and energy doing something that really was not in my wheelhouse, not my bailiwick, right? So what happens when I finally decided to hire a CPA, tax person the following year, that tax season came around and I was like, oh, good, I'll just give everything to Lisa, because my CPA is named Lisa. Like, I'll just give everything to Lisa. She'll do it. And then, a couple weeks before tax day, she reaches out to me and says, here's your stuff. Look it over, sign it. And I'm like, I'm done.
Yeah.
So what happened was, instead of me spending anywhere from like 10 to 30 hours doing my own taxes, I now got freed up for 10 to 30 hours to do the things that I'm good at, that I should be spending my time doing, that I can spend time earning money instead of spending my time. Because now I'm able to do things that I can make money from, because I can get on sales calls with clients instead of doing my taxes. You
And
know,
how good did that feel to turn it over to her and then have her come back and say, just sign the document. You're done.
amazing.
You know,
Absolutely. Yeah.
it is so important. And you also mentioned too of working with a life or a business coach. You know, and you and I, we
Mhm.
both do coaching, and you know, I keep telling people you don't have to do this alone. You know, it's important to help, you know, other people and have support, because your friends can only support you so far. Your other entrepreneur friends can only support you so far. Sometimes you need to have that outside perspective to help you to see what's my next step, what's my best move.
Yeah, totally. And, like a lot of coaches, um, if you're a person who is unsure of what your next step to do is in something, maybe you've gotten halted and you just don't know what to do, right? So finding somebody who can help you with that, hiring a coach, finding a mentor or something like that, they can help you fast track your process. So here's the thing, again, time, right? Time is very limited. You can spend months, years trying to figure something out, or you can hire somebody who is doing exactly what you want to do, and they know all the steps to do, and they can get you there a lot faster. So one of my mentors, and you know him, Lisa, Greg Reed,
Yes.
he says, seek counsel, not opinion, because oftentimes when you seek opinion, which would be from friends and family who have no idea what you're doing, you say, hey, I'm getting ready to write this book. I'm so excited. I can't wait to write the book. They're like, why are you writing a book? That's a family, because they don't understand what you're doing, why you're doing it. But then you find somebody who's already written a book, maybe someone like Greg, who's written over 75 books,
I
right? And you're
know.
like, hey, Greg, I'm getting ready to write a book. I'm so excited. And he's going to be like, okay, here's what you need to do. He's going
And
to,
Greg is the expert too. I mean, when it comes
yeah,
to mastermind, he's exactly who comes to mind right after Napoleon Hill. It's Greg Reed, and so
yeah.
you're mentioning somebody who's really good. You know, his book, 3 Feet from Gold, and for anyone watching this, if you've not read that book, like he has written so many books, but that is the one that always hits home for me. And that's the one that
Yep.
inspired me to reach out to him, which brought me to Secret Knocks, which brought me to meet you, right?
Oh my gosh, I'm the same exact thing because I saw Greg Reed speak at an event and I won the book I'm 3 Feet from Gold, and I read it and it literally changed my whole way of thinking. And I showed up at Secret Knock and I had the same exact experience. And he has been commissioned by the Napoleon Hill Foundation to carry on Napoleon Hill's work. So, I mean, that's like how awesome he is. Like, I couldn't say enough good about Greg, because he's literally helped me to change my entire world.
Yes, we should share the link if you can. How can people find about Secret Knock? Because you have to be invited, but you can apply to go to the site. So can you share that? Greg will love that.
Yes, of course. Yes, it's secretknock.co. He says we left off the M because we didn't want people to find us, because it is a secret event. It's exclusive, it's expensive, and it is well worth it because the people that you'll meet there are incredible. And just share real quickly, so like how I got involved in it. So I'm the organizer of Secret Knock now. First, I attended it for 2 years, for four times before I said, what, I wonder what it would be like to be a volunteer. So I asked, can I volunteer? And they're like, yeah, of course. So I volunteered. I had a really great time. I volunteered twice. And then the next time, his organizer, she moved. And so he asked me if I wanted to become the organizer of the event. Now, the reason he asked me is because I've organized my own events. I've done over 75 events. So I knew what it was like to be an organizer.
You're the event goddess.
Yeah. Yeah. So here I was. I stepped into the position of organizing the Forbes #1 top rated event, to attend by entrepreneurs. And it's been an amazing journey, organizing that event because I've had the opportunity to meet people like Les Brown, like Sharon Lecter, people who are changing the world. Brian Smith, he's the founder of UGG Boots, and like Jack Canfield, I had an opportunity to meet him because of my relationship to Greg Reed, through this whole event called Secret Knock. Absolutely incredible.
Well, and Frank Shankwitz, who, I didn't know. So when I went to Secret Knocks, Greg's going to love this plug, right? He's going to absolutely love it. And Alan, of course, too. Alan is also involved with it. But what I love was that my favorite organization was the Make-A-Wish Foundation. I had no idea when I went there. I didn't know who was going to be there. There was Frank Shankwitz, the founder of Make-A-Wish Foundation. Like I was just in tears. Like I could not believe that you have access to all these people. Ron Klein, who invented the magnetic strip, on the back of our credit cards.
Yep.
It's incredible, these people that all come together. It's absolutely amazing.
And what's cool about it for me, Lisa, too, is you're mentioning those specific names, because I'm writing 3 collaboration books right now, but one of them is called 13 Lessons from Action Takers Who Changed the World. Well, I have Greg Reed will be in my book, as well as Ron Klein, who, as you stated, invented the magnetic strip on the back of credit cards. Frank Shankwitz, the creator and co-founder of the Make-A-Wish Foundation, as well as Brian Smith, the founder of UGG Boots. So all of those people are going to be in my book. I'm so excited to be writing a book with them. And that kind of goes to the fear factor. When I first started this journey of, attending Secret Knock, I still had those fears because it was in 2015, March, when I attended Secret Knock the first time. And I met all of those people at Secret Knock, and it was through facing my fears of going to talk to them, like just walking up and talking to them and having conversation. And now they're going to be in this book with me. And one day I was thinking my first book that I was in was called Footsteps of the Fearless, and that was with Greg Reed. It's his book, and I'm a featured author in that book. And then my next progression was to write my own book, The Year of Fears. And I started thinking about, 3 months ago, what's my next step? And I said, I'll write my own collaborative book, and I'll ask those guys to be in it. And so I did, and they all said yes, that without hesitation. So the point I'm making here is, sometimes in life, Like we don't know where we're going to be tomorrow, let alone a year from now, right? Like you can plan your life out as far as you want, but that it doesn't always happen the way you plan it, because different opportunities show themselves to you along that path. But the thing is that you can keep yourself closed to accepting those opportunities, or you can be open to it, to say, you know what, I'm open to seeing where this goes. And that has been me. I've been totally 100% open to seeing where everything goes. And that's why I was on the red carpet interviewing stars, and I will be again. And that I'm doing this all the time, but this was at the Academy Awards after party on the red carpet for my first time.
I know, is it? And that's why I'm so blessed that you came on the show, because you are the real, you're a true person, your heart, your soul. You don't try to hide your past. You absolutely are open to talk about it, because you
Yep.
want to help other women and men to be inspired to never give up and to keep going. And that it's never too late. It's your turn.
Exactly. And that's
How
the thing
can
is,
they find you, Lynda? How can people reach out and find you? Our show is wrapping up, and I want to be able to have people, I'm going to add all your information, your contact information to the link, and how they can download that great time management program too.
okay, cool. Awesome. Well, they can find me I'm on Facebook at Lynda with a Y, Lynda Lynda Sunshine West. So you can send me a friend request over there. Or my Facebook business page is called Living Live Show. So it's at Living Live Show. You'll find my Facebook page there. And then I'm on Instagram at Lynda M as in Marie West. And then my website is livinglive.tv.
Wonderful. Lynda, thank you so much for taking time out of your sanctuary to come and bring us into your home. I loved having you on today. Thank you so very much.
Thanks for having me. I really enjoyed these topics. As you can tell, I'm very passionate about them. And as you said, I just want to help people, and I want to help them to change their lives, because you know what? You're given a purpose. And once you find that purpose, I totally 100% believe that it's your duty and obligation to live on purpose from a daily basis from that point forward.
Wow, that's a beautiful wrap. I can't outdo that. So thank you, Lynda. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Until next week. Bye-bye.